I remember a conversation I had with my cousin who asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up. And I said, a teacher or a psychologist, but not the doctor kind. Because I had seen experts on TV talk about things, and I just thought, wow, they're so smart. They know everything, and I want to be like them. And it's just funny to think about because I didn't really pursue either seriously until I entered psychology.
You just heard Clara Cheng from Carlow University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Garth interviewed Clara for episode 247 of Psych Sessions, conversations about teaching and stuff.
APA Publishing wants to give you 15% off your order. If you teach classes like counseling, clinical psychopathology, or multicultural psychology, then this is for you. APA Publishing has books that are written by experts that are grounded in evidence and really help teachers. I'll give you a couple of examples. There's a book they have right now called Helping Skills. It's in its 6th edition, and it gives students clear, practical frameworks for understanding and learning counseling techniques. It's perfect for hands-on practice and skill development. Here's another one. Cultural Humility helps students build self-awareness and engage meaningfully across diverse identities and experiences. So head to apa.org because they want to give you 15% off your order today using code PS15. That's capital P, capital S, 15. Go check out APA Publishing.
Hi, Psych Sessions listeners. This is Stephen Chu, one of the authors of Psychology in Your Life. For the new edition, I've created a series of brief videos that target common student problems in learning. They give practical, research-based strategies to help students learn more effectively. This new resource is called Improving Student Learning, a Video Guide. If you'd like to learn more about these videos or see a sample, feel free to reach out to me at stephen.chu, C-H-E-W, at www.norton.com.
Hi, my name is Drew Christopher. I joined SDP back in 1996 because I just wanted to be a better teacher, and I figured something called the Society for the Teaching of Psychology would help me in that regard, and it did. I became involved in a variety of task force, a variety of working groups, and so forth early on in my career. And looking back on it now, I think one of the biggest benefits wasn't just becoming a better teacher, but all the colleagues that I met along the way, and I'm still friends with today, who are also helping me still be a good teacher, if not a great teacher. Those professional connections have lasted a lifetime, and both personally and professionally, they're probably one of the most rewarding things that I can look back on the over 30 years I've been teaching and say it's probably the best thing I've ever done.
To join the Society for the Teaching of Psychology for only $35 a year, please visit teachpsych.org. This is Garth at NITOP 2026. I am here today with Clara Cheng from Carlow University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where she is a professor of psychology. Welcome, Clara.
Thank you, Garth.
It's so good to have you. And we've gotten to know each other a little bit because of your role with the Society for the Teaching of Psychology and my role over there. And so you are currently the Vice President of Resources. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how did that come to be, first of all? Is that like childhood dream? You wanted to be the VP of Resources?
No, I would say opportunities fell in my lap and I said yes. So I think it's pretty interesting. We're here at NITOP, and I think the origin story started at NITOP. About 10 years ago, I presented a poster, and Bill Altman at the time was, I think, the editor for E-Excellence in Psychology, which is one of the resources that we have. And he invited me to submit a post for that. And I said, sure. And then I think the following year, he was involved in the APA Guide to College Teaching, and he was looking for co-authors. And he invited me to participate. And that just involved writing a couple of chapters. And I thought, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And so I think he sort of knew of me through the work that we did together. And then when he was looking for someone to take over the editor for the Psychology in Communities wiki, another one of our resources, I think he was actually the one who was the editor, but he was moving into the role of VP for resources. And so he asked me if I wanted to do it, and I said yes. So then our tracks were the same. So when I was finishing up my second term as the editor for Psychology and Communities, he was finishing up his second term and last term as VP for Resources. And my name was brought up somehow, I guess, when they were looking for people to run for that position. And so Susan Nolan, who was the chair of the elections committee at the time, invited me to run for it. And I said yes. So this is how I ended up here. And I love it. I honestly never thought I would, I see people doing these great things, and maybe there's a little bit of self-doubt. I never really thought of myself as being good enough to contribute in this way. But now I love it. I feel like, wow, anybody can do this. Anybody can be a part of this executive committee and do great work.
Well, I love this story. And so many people have a story like this who have gotten involved in STP. And I think that the trajectory, of course, it's different for every individual, but mine was not dissimilar in that you start small. Mm-hmm. And it's usually by an invitation of somebody who has done it, who says, you could do it. Yeah. And for me, it was task forces presidential task forces that I got onto. And then you get to observe how other people are doing things. You do a good job of something. And by good job, folks, if you're listening to this and you're like, how do I get involved? You do a good job already. It's not like nobody's judging the quality of work. You've proven that in however you got to where you are already. But you do a good job, you follow through on what you say you're going to follow through on, and then opportunities come knocking, right? I think it's often the way it works, and love to hear the mentoring piece too, because I think that is a part of mentoring, is giving folks opportunities, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so it's just neat to hear your story, and of course, you're a good fit on the VP as VP of Resources. Would you have now that you know STP and you look across all the things it has to offer, so resources and diversity and programming, and there's lots of different VPs, right? Is this the one you would have picked if you were starting on day one, or did you just kind of go that direction?
That is such a great question. I'm not sure. I think there was always a part of me that wanted to get involved with programming, but this is what was available. Right. And I'm happy. I love doing it. And I think it's one of those things where sometimes you just don't know, and it's okay. Sometimes you might think you have strengths in one area, maybe weaknesses in other areas, or maybe you're just not really sure. And I think it's okay to take the opportunities even if you're not really sure. Yeah. Because I think you end up surprising yourself, and you end up finding a new path that you didn't know existed, and that you feel that you can still contribute in a meaningful way. So I don't know if I would have just out of all of them picked resources, but I'm happy and I feel like it's a good fit.
Yeah, that's great. So if people are new to STP, and by the way, folks, if you're listening and you're not a member of STP, teachpsych.org, it's $35 a year.
Yes, $35 a year.
And the benefits are wonderful. Just go and do it, and then you can apply for funding for things. And anyway, there's lots of opportunities to get the Teaching of Psychology Journal. Anyway, can you just tell us what are resources from the STP perspective?
It's a wide range. So it just means anything that can help teachers of psychology. So it ranges from our flagship journal, Teaching of Psychology, where we publish SOTL research, Scholarship of Teaching and Learning Research. And we have peer-reviewed resources like syllabi. If folks are teaching a class for the first time and they're not quite sure what to teach or what to put in their syllabi or what activities they can include, we have resources for that. They can look at our collection of syllabi and use them, modify.
Those are peer reviewed, right?
They are peer reviewed, yes. And anybody can submit them. So if anyone listening would like to submit any resource, that would be great. We would love to have them. We have wikis. We have the Teaching of Psychology Idea Exchange. So anybody can request to become a writer for the wiki. So if you're just thinking about being involved in a very small way, you can do that. If you think you have a great idea and you would like to share that, you can post it to our wiki. We have a section on best practices, which has different types of activities and assignments and demos organized by subtopic within psychology.
Faculty colleagues, I am sounding the alarm. Psych content is great, but it's not enough. And so we need textbook publishers to come in and help us deliver the skills of psychology to our students, which is where Macmillan is stepping in with its course platform, Achieve. Now more than ever, we need students who can think critically and who can be data literate. We need them to be able to manage things like responsible use of AI ethically. The new Achieve from Macmillan Learning is addressing each of these skills one by one in their course platform. So if you haven't checked out Achieve in a while, you can go and check out their psychology titles at achieve.macmillanlearning.com. Save yourself some time, give your students some skills, check out Achieve.
We have psychology and communities, which I talked about, which is more outward facing for how do we share psychology with the outside world, outside of our classrooms. We have a number of different resources. There are actually 9 different areas that under my purview. It also includes the internet. So if you go to teachpsych.org, that is also under resources. And we have ebooks, and they're all free. The ebooks are free. So it's really it's a really great place for anyone teaching psychology to check out. And I really love the spirit of it because almost everything is free. Of course, we can't do it for free, so we need members to help out. But it is really about giving psychology away. Yeah. And I really love that idea of just providing resources for people, especially new teachers of psychology. Teaching is hard, especially in the beginning. And we're often not given a lot of resources or training to teach. And so it's great to have a sample syllabus to look at or some sample activities that have been tested and has worked in other classes to try out for your own class. So I think that's a great thing. I think that's a really good thing that we do in STP for the community of teachers of psychology.
Yeah, and those of us who have been around long enough, we have poked around those resources and grabbed stuff when we needed it because we all need it. We all lack expertise in some areas or lack teaching expertise when we kind of start to teach. I know that was true for me. And I'm going to pose a question to you that I think is kind of challenging. Between APA and then STP, and then we have resources available to support teachers through even textbook publishers. They kind of put out these sorts of things to help, at teachpsych.org, like, how is the organization? I'm guessing you have a lot of resources.
We do.
Does it become overwhelming to be a person who's like, oh, I don't even know where to start? And where would you start if you were a person who was new to teaching? Where would you? Yeah. What's your suggestion to folks?
That is such a great question. I think they can reach out to me. I can help them because you're right. We have so much that I think it can be very overwhelming. And some of the resources we've had for so long, and we have editors, very capable editors for each area, and they update the resources, they organize the resources, and we always have new things as well. And I think if someone is really, really lost and they want just a crash course on where do I go, where do I start, I think anyone who is familiar with the resources would be happy to help. And I'm happy to talk to anyone who just has questions about where do I begin? Where do I find anything? If I just want X, how do I find that? But yeah, I think you just gave me a great idea. I think we should have a page that just lists all the resources and explain everything.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I think that's a great idea.
That'd be really
Thank
helpful. Yeah, but you heard it here. Clara's going to be your tour guide through the resources.
I'm happy to.
No, that's awesome. And then, if people, sometimes I go to the Get Involved page at STP, at teachpsych.org. Does that have all of the opportunities for resources? Because you said like people could write for the wiki. Is that there under that Get Involved page?
So I would say not the wiki one, although I can certainly make that happen. But any leadership position would be posted. So we have an opening for an associate editor for ebooks, or an associate editor for another area, or an editor position. Those would be listed there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, super helpful. Thank you for just giving us this overview. I'm sure you've learned a lot in this position. And so I want to make sure that, you have the opportunity to share that with us, like how to best use all these amazing resources that people have put together for decades and continue to put together. It actually makes me think about AI and how well versed are you in AI at this point?
I wouldn't say I'm super well versed. I am learning as we go. I think like many of us, we have 2 ebooks coming out on AI. Okay. So something to look out for.
Yeah. Well, I wonder sometimes I just think about this with something like resources. It seems to me like some questions about teaching are going to come up like every generation. Like if we sat here talking about like a teaching problem that is happening and we had this idea, like there's a good chance that 20 years ago, Bill Buskus wrote something about it, right? Except the resources become so large that we've lost it. We've lost the thread to go back and say, well, what did they say about whoever it was, about intro psych or whatever topic, right? I wonder in this AI era, if you can put all those resources into I don't know, somebody listening knows how this works, but where you upload all of your resources in kind of a into that becomes your database and AI can pull from those. I wonder if there's some way to organize all those resources over those decades or over those years. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll have to find out.
I think some people who write a lot, authors in our fields or whatever, they upload or maybe they're uploading their lecture notes and their writings, their articles or whatever. And then they have their kind of custom AI to do that. So I don't know.
That's a good thought.
Well, I don't know if it's a good or bad thought, but maybe if somebody out there thinks that it's an okay thought and they know how to improve on it, maybe they can someday. All right, Clara. So you are in Pittsburgh, and how long have you been at
Carlo?
Yes. How long have you been there for?
15 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I realized it was that long.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Time flies.
So how long have you been gone from our motherland? We're both Canadians. So yeah.
25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I moved away in 2004.
Okay. 2000 for me.
2000 for you. Okay.
Yeah. For grad school.
And okay. So let's just go back. So you tell us where you grew up.
Okay.
And kind of what was school like for you? What kind of student were you?
Wow. It's a long story. So I was born in Hong Kong and spent my first 11 years there. It was a British colony at the time, and a lot of families were moving away because China was taking it back. So we moved to Canada when I was 11, almost 12. So I sort of spent some of my growing up in Hong Kong and some of it in Toronto, in the suburbs of Toronto. And in terms of, I was a good student. I think it was culturally ingrained in me that education is the number one priority. And it's part of my culture growing up in Hong Kong, and part of my family and my parents instilled that in me. So there was really no question about what kind of student are you going to be. You have to be a good student. You have to be an A student. So, so that's...
Wow. And so you start, was there a middle school that you just had to, like, what is that like for a kid to move to a new country and just start in with their peers, their new peers?
It was interesting. I was looking forward to moving.
Okay.
Just because everyone else was moving, all my friends were gradually moving away. So it was part of the norm, as weird as that might sound, but at the time that was just what people did. So I didn't have any qualms about moving away from everything I knew. My parents decided to move in January, in the middle of grade 6, when I was in the middle of grade 6. So that was a very weird transition. It was very hard because I wasn't just the new kid, but I was the new kid in the middle of the school year.
Yeah.
And I didn't know English very well. I learned English, but I wasn't conversational.
So growing up in Hong Kong, what was the primary language?
Cantonese. I did learn some subjects in English.
Uh-huh.
So I went to a school that had some subjects taught in English.
Uh-huh.
So I knew words in English,
Yeah.
but not so much conversing because I wasn't speaking English on a regular basis. And so when we moved to Canada, I didn't understand anything for the rest of that school year. But I wasn't the only one. So I didn't feel left out or anything because there were a lot of other immigrant kids. Right. So,
yeah, for folks who don't know, that area is like Toronto's one of the most diverse cities in the world.
It
I
is.
think,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say probably it was a very significant proportion of kids who also came from Hong Kong. So, so at recess, we would speak Cantonese. So It wasn't like I didn't have friends.
Yeah.
But that in class, I didn't really understand anything, except for math and science, because I learned those in English.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Had your parents gone to college?
Sort of.
Okay.
So they went to, they did post-secondary education, but at the time that wasn't like a degree granting institution.
Okay.
So I'm not quite sure how to explain it.
Yeah. Well, my thought is going to, so you moved to the Toronto area and then you're in high school, probably at some point you're thinking about university.
Yes.
But, I don't know if you'd consider yourself first generation college student. But if so, I think one of the things that we lack sometimes, and was my situation, is that nobody's there to talk to me about like how this works.
Yeah.
I don't know if you experienced that, or how did you make the decision to go to college?
Yeah, I think in that way, nobody talked to me about it. But I knew I was going to go.
And you went to University of Toronto?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so it wasn't about going away necessarily.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I think at the time I just wasn't ready to go away. So I just went to the hometown school.
Yeah. Which is what we do in Canada quite often.
Yeah. So I think I just knew that's where I was going to go.
Hey folks, I want to talk about autism spectrum disorder. Specifically, I want to talk about how good testing can help adults get the help that they need. But first, a few statistics. Did you know that almost 62 million people worldwide would qualify for the autism spectrum disorder diagnosis? That's 1 in 127. And when we think about teenagers in the US, that's more than 50,000 youth a year who are going to be making that transition from childhood to adulthood with this diagnosis. And many of them are actually going to lose critical services at this time. So enter ASRS. That is the Autism Spectrum Rating Scale for adults. It's scientifically valid. It's a multi-informant rating scale from leading experts Sam Goldstein and Jack Naglieri, tailored specifically to adults in their unique presentation. And it identifies late emerging symptoms and the masking behaviors that often go unnoticed. It's perfect for classroom demonstrations or projects and for training. This test goes for real-world relevance to help people. If you want to learn more, head to mhs.com and check out the Education and Training Partnership Program, or simply click Contact Us to get more information. That is mhs.com.
And that's what I did. So there wasn't much in terms of traveling to different schools to visit and look at different programs. I just knew where I was going to go. And so I guess I didn't need help in that way initially. I think what I didn't understand was when I got there, that was a whole different beast compared to high school. And I kind of wish I knew some things about it, but at the same time, I'm not sure where I would have gotten that.
Yeah, no, me either. That was my experience. So what did you set out to study when you were there?
So I, like many 18-year-olds, I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I was in high school. I didn't really have a chance to study psychology because we didn't have AP or anything like that. So I was not exposed to it, but I took a business administrative studies class, and some things were interesting to me, which now I know they were the psychology things. Yeah. But at the time I thought, well, maybe I should go and study business because at some point I might get to some topics that would be of interest to me. And at University of Toronto, you couldn't declare a major right away. You had to wait a year. So at the end of your first year is when you declare a major. But in your first year, you have to take prerequisites. So you sort of have to have an idea so that you could take the right prerequisites. And so I applied to go into the commerce stream, and with the intention of majoring, or in fact, being a specialist in commerce, because you couldn't major in one thing. You had to be either a double major or in a specialist program. So my thought was I will specialist in commerce and I will, eventually learn something interesting. I really didn't like my first year classes very much, except for psychology. And I actually took psychology because it satisfied a breadth requirement. And I realized, this is actually really, really interesting. And this is what I want to do. But when it came time to declare my major, I wasn't able to just get into the specialist program in psychology right away because the criterion was really stringent. I think you had to have an A in Intro to Psych.
Whoa.
Which almost nobody got.
Yeah.
I think it was a way for them to weed out students, because one of the requirements if you're a specialist in psychology is to complete a thesis in your fourth year. And there's no way they could have 100 theses. They couldn't supervise that many. So they really gatekeep from the beginning.
Wow.
And I did not get an A. So I double majored in commerce and psychology. But then in my second year, I was taking more advanced economics and accounting classes, and I could not understand them. I could not make sense of any of it. And so the other pathway to become a specialist in psychology was to do really well in your second year in your psych classes. So I just worked my butt off and got good enough grades that I was able to then become a specialist in psychology. So that's how I ended up.
I don't know if you know this about my story, but University of Saskatchewan, started in commerce.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that now that you mention it.
Yeah, and then ran into a microeconomics course that I just did not get. I was like so lost in it. Plus, I was a bad student because nobody ever taught me how to study. I got by, and I did fine at school. Like I'm very responsible.
Yeah.
So I would get things in on time and they'd be done. Yep. And I had some great teachers along the way, but nobody ever taught me how to study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so seen right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the same issue.
Yeah.
Because whatever worked in high school, I was a very good student in high school.
Yeah.
But none of those strategies worked.
Yeah.
Once I went to university, it was too much information. I didn't know how to distill the information. I didn't know how to summarize, how to organize. I just didn't know how to study. And at University of Toronto, big school, big classes. My intro to psych class was 1,200 students in one room.
Yep.
It was a building.
Yep.
And I didn't have help. I didn't know where to get help. You're sort of on your own when you're at a big school like that. And at the time we didn't have teaching stream faculty either.
No.
So there was really, teaching wasn't, I had some good teachers, but it really wasn't the focus.
No.
So, I had the same experience.
It was my intro psych was probably about the same size, and it was so boring. And I showed up, but I think my grade in that class, I think it was a 67% because we did percentages. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what failing is, but it was real close to that. And that's before, I don't know. I guess I just didn't even know to take education seriously. I thought it was an extension of high school, right? So anyway, so then you end up in a major, in a dual major then? Or
initially.
And then you specialize in psychology.
Yeah, because I couldn't deal with microeconomics either.
Yeah, okay, great. Yes. Yeah. So then what was that psychology major program like at U of T?
Very rigorous. I really liked it. We had a lot of statistics, a lot of research methods, and I really felt like it was an excellent preparation for graduate school.
Cool.
Yeah, I really liked it. I did. We had a year. I didn't take the first year-long statistics course because I was still a double major. Long story there, but after that, I had to take another statistics course. Then I think research methods, we had a year-long lab where you kind of did your own research. You came up with your own little study. I did an independent study. I did a thesis. So I really felt like I was well prepared. Grad school was a breeze. I really had a good time in grad school. Wow. And I think U of T prepared me well for it. Yeah.
I don't share that story. But at some point too, somebody talked to you about grad school, like your experiences at U of T. Somebody said you should go to grad school, I imagine, right?
I think I just realized I had to go to grad school. I don't think anybody told me.
Oh, and how did you, what made you think that?
Because I was trying to think of what I wanted to do with my life. And I thought being a professor might be fun. And I realized that in order to do that, I needed a PhD. So I had to go to grad school.
That was it.
That was it.
Okay. So what was your grad school strategy? Did you aim for the United States? Did you look at Canadian schools?
I mostly, interestingly, looked at the US. My strategy, I don't know if it was the best strategy. I knew some things, but I didn't know other things. I would say I didn't. I knew some things just through other students who've been through the process and learning about what I should be looking for. So I knew things like, I needed research experience because I would need 3 letters of recommendation. I knew that I needed to do well on the GREs. I knew that it was also not about your grades, but about the match between your research interests. So I knew to look for schools where the faculty were doing things that I was interested in. And I knew to reach out to them and see if they were taking graduate students. Beyond that, I think go ahead.
That's an incredible amount of kind of knowledge that you gleaned there, though. Like, how did you learn that stuff?
Just from other students.
From other students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such, U of T is such a big place that you tend to just learn from other students around you. More so than, some of those things I just didn't have a faculty who sat me down and said, this is what you need to do.
Yeah. Okay. So did you apply for a lot of graduate schools?
Oh, I don't remember. It's been so long. It was a lot, I think. Probably about maybe 10.
And what interests were you aiming for?
Social psychology. I knew I liked social psychology and particularly social cognition. And I just looked at different schools and looked at research that I knew of based on classes that I was taking. And so I applied. That's how I chose the schools that I applied. And I ended up at Ohio State. It was the first acceptance I got. And it was really interesting because by that point, there was a new faculty at the time, Allison Chastain. It was her first year when it was my fourth year at U of T. And I was doing an independent study with her. I had already applied to grad school at that point. So, but once I got into Ohio State, she was so excited for me. And she's like, that's a great school. It's the best program. You have to go there. And so I really thank her for it because I loved it. I ended up, I think she did influence me a little bit. I did visit Ohio State, loved it, and just thought this is going to be it. But she did steer me in that direction because I didn't know. I wouldn't have known about reputations of the programs because that wasn't something you would be able to get from your peers.
Right. Yeah. It's actually, I don't know, I've never been to U of T campus, but when I was at Ohio State, it actually reminded me of the University of Saskatchewan.
Oh, really?
Some of the architecture and stuff. It felt very familiar to me for some reason. But so you moved to Columbus. How many years did you spend there?
6.
6 years. Okay. All right. Anything stand out for you at that time? What did you really enjoy doing while you were there? I was in a chorus. I was in a community chorus when I was there. That was a lot of fun. I spent a lot of time on campus, right? Just like many grad students. So I really just loved all the opportunities I had there. I was able to teach. I got a lot of teaching experience while I was there. I got a lot of research experience while I was there. So you set out to maybe be a professor. Was it the teaching part of it that drew you in right away, even when you were an undergrad?
It was actually the research part.
Okay.
Initially, I really liked the research. So I definitely thought initially I was going to go into R1. That was my path. And I tried to prepare myself for that. Because at that point, I hadn't taught anything. I didn't know if I would like it. But I did choose Ohio State in part because I knew I would get teaching experience. And once I did, I discovered I really enjoyed it. So when I was on the job market, I was aiming for more of a balance, a place that has more both teaching and research that valued both. So I actually ended up at American University at first in Washington, D.C. And that was, at the time, was a very much balanced place. And after 4 years, I went to Carlo, which is more of a teaching-focused institution. Okay.
So, and was that decision to move institutions, was that kind of career-driven or day-to-day driven, or was it like, did you want to get out of DC area? Like, what was it?
It was a little bit of both personal and professional.
Yep.
So I think AU, American University, was trying to move towards R1, and that wasn't what I signed up for, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to stay there. It was a little far from Toronto.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was in a relationship, and we were long distance, and we were trying to find jobs in the same place. So that was another reason I was targeting Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And ended up where I am.
Wow.
So I wasn't really, I would say initially I wasn't really sure. It was a big change, right? I knew I wasn't going to have the resources to do the research that I had been doing. So that part of my career was basically done. And it was a leap of faith. I really wasn't sure how it was going to go, but honestly, it's another situation where I wasn't 100% sure, but I'm going to say yes. And it ended up being, I think, the best thing that I've ever done, because I really love Carlo. I love where I am. I love what I do. I think it ended up being a really good fit for me. And I would not have thought that. I didn't know that was going to be the case.
Interesting. Was it hard to leave AU, or was it kind of just necessary and you just like, this is the next part of my career?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think that,
okay.
I think I just felt like I needed to do it.
Yeah.
And I love being a little bit closer to home as well.
Yeah, for sure. Is that drivable, Pittsburgh to Toronto?
Yeah, it's 5 hours plus traffic.
Oh,
so it's
that's
not
all
bad.
right.
Mm-hmm.
For Canadians, that's great.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
we're so spread out.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you been at Carlo now?
15 years.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Okay, so coming in, what was your teaching load like, and is it still this? No, you do other jobs there.
I
now.
do.
Hold on.
I
How did you
do.
get hired? Like, what was the job when you got hired?
I was basically hired to teach statistics.
Okay.
Actual statistics and research methods, but I haven't actually taught research methods at Carlo. So I was there to replace somebody who was teaching statistics and research methods. And I think also at the time they were looking for somebody to teach the cognitive and affective bases of behavior class for the doctoral program in counseling psychology. And APA, it's an APA accredited program, and APA has certain requirements for who could teach the core classes. So it had to be somebody with some sort of background. And at Carlo, the psychology department is very counseling heavy, counseling and counseling psychology heavy. And there was no one who had any background in cognitive psychology. And I have graduate minors in quantitative psychology and cognitive psychology. So I think I happened to be able to serve multiple purposes. They needed someone to teach stats, and I was like, I can do that.
You were their unicorn.
It worked out. It worked out for me.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah, great. So what is a full teaching load there?
It's 24 credits of workload for the year. So for most people, that is 4-4.
Yeah.
Because most classes are 3 credits.
Mm-hmm.
My statistics class is 4 credits, so it's always been not quite 4-4 for me, but still 24 credits. And now I do have other roles. So I'm currently half-time teaching and half-time administrative roles.
Yeah. What are the roles, administrative roles?
So one that I've done for a while now is the director of the undergraduate psychology program. And then the other one is I'm the interim associate dean of faculty professional development for the College of Arts and Sciences.
Okay. So yes, I read that, and now we need to talk about it because I don't know how you do that. What's the secret other than getting no sleep? What's the secret?
That's it. No.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, the secret is I just love my job.
Okay.
So a lot of times I don't feel like I'm working.
I feel the same way.
Yeah. I think when you're in academia, you have to love your job.
You better.
Yeah.
Or else burnout's like a real thing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I always find, I love that there's variety in what I do. I love teaching, but I also love that I have other roles. So I still have some teaching, which is great, but I have these other roles that I really enjoy. So I get to do something different every day. And I think that keeps me going. I think.
Isn't it interesting? What was that first class you took at UT? Was it business administration, you said?
Well, in high school.
Oh, high school.
Yeah, that was the class that led to me thinking that I should go into business.
Yeah, but you're kind of full circle back into business administration in some ways,
It's true.
right?
I never thought of it that way.
But you're also dipped into the psychology piece, which you love.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just interesting to me that what we like and are drawn to, we often end up back doing. Like it doesn't change because that's just who we are, right?
Well, in fact, I have a full circle story because when I was much younger, probably around 8 or 9, I remember a conversation I had with my cousin who asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up. And I said, a teacher or a psychologist, but not the doctor kind. Because I had seen experts on TV talk about things, and I just thought, wow, they're so smart. They know everything, and I want to be like them. And it's just funny to think about because I didn't really pursue either seriously until I entered psychology, right? So throughout high school, I think I would have, if I wanted to, I could have tutored other students. I just didn't do it. I just didn't think I was going to end up being a teacher. So I feel like that's a big full circle moment because now I think about it, I think it had always been there since I was a little kid that I liked psychology. I liked the scholarly piece of psychology, like thinking about psychology and learning about psychology and imparting that knowledge, and then also teaching.
It's funny. I was hanging out with my mom over this holiday break, and my wife was talking to her and asking her questions that, wives ask their mother-in-laws, like, what was he like a kid when he was a kid? And my mom said, well, he didn't really play with anything. He would just try to talk to people. That's like what he wanted to do. He just wanted to be social. Like at 5 years old, he just wasn't really that interested in toys. I'm like, these things don't really change that much, do they?
Full circle.
I know.
Wow.
Okay, that's cool. So what are your major responsibilities as a dean? Mm-hmm. So basically your undergraduate majors, you're working with that program, and then you're also in the teaching and learning sphere as well. So what are your major responsibilities in those areas?
In short, it's mentorship.
Okay.
So I help onboard first-year faculty in the college. So I have a series of luncheons and a series of sort of mentorship type meetings with them throughout the year to get them acclimated to Carlo, just help them with anything they need. I also work with faculty who are coming up for tenure and promotion, kind of helping them through that process. I do I organize meetings and we talk about things like teaching or advising. So I do some sessions on, hey, new advisors, this is how you do advising. So it's kind of anything that falls under that umbrella. I work with new department chairs and program directors to mentor them. A lot of it is, I also created an internal site where I put resources. So that comes full circle with the STP role that I have, because there are so many resources, a lot of webinars, a lot of professional development opportunities. And when I find something, I just put it on there. And that way there's one place that anybody can go find. And if they're thinking, oh, I don't know how to incorporate AI into my class, they can see the list of resources that I've posted there. So it encompasses all of those things. And reviewing, every year we do an annual professional growth and development process. It's our annual review / evaluation where we write a narrative document about our achievements in the past year. And so I review those and work with department chairs if there are any gaps that need to be addressed. So,
wow.
Yeah, I love it. I get to work with faculty. It's like teaching, but for faculty.
How did those roles come to you over time? Like, did they just become available? Were you aware of them and you said, it's something I'd like to try? Did somebody tap you and say, we'd like you to consider this?
That.
Okay.
So, another role that fell in my lab. So this role, it's an interim role right now. My understanding is going to become permanent, but I don't know for sure. So I've only been in this role for 2 years. This is my second year. And there was no one in this position before. It was a new position that was created because our dean, frankly, needed more help. And so he sort of carved out a piece of his work and he said, I need somebody to do this. And he asked me if I wanted to, and I said yes.
Well, again, it's that whole thing of you must have shown that you were a trustworthy person to get this kind of work done, right? And that you would have the desire to do something like that. If I'm a dean, I am not tapping some faculty member who is flaky, doesn't show up, doesn't get stuff in. Like, that's not who I'm tapping. So it says something about you, right? That you have, there's like, I mean, I'd imagine you're pretty conscientious and you get stuff done, and
I'm pretty high on conscientiousness.
Yeah. And organized too, I think, right? That's why you can like look at the resources and like make sense of all this and categorize and add things and know where to go. And so yeah, what a gift for them that you have all these skills.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, luckily I feel like these are also roles that I feel pretty competent in. I think I have strengths in those areas, like you said, and so yeah, I feel like I can contribute. I think I wouldn't be happy if I felt like this is not an area that I could really contribute and I wouldn't do a good job. And so I think everything has been a good fit for me.
Yeah. What do you want to do like in the next, I don't know, 10 years of your career or whatever? Like, are you just content and you're happy to be content where you are right now? Or do you think ahead about some things? Do you want to do more administration? Do you want to keep a balance?
I sort of like where I am now. Mm-hmm. It still feels very new because I'm only in my second year as interim associate dean. And if this becomes permanent, I would like to keep it. And because I think there are still more. This is a bit of a problem I have, is I keep thinking there's more I can do. But I always think that I'm always trying to think of what else can I be doing that I'm not thinking of. And because it was a new position, there was no manual. There was no one. There was a job description, but there was no, well, these might be good ideas. So I have had to come up with some ideas. And I feel like there's always going to be new ideas because I'll see what someone else might be doing at another university. And I'll think, oh, that's a great idea. I should do that. So I think definitely in the short term, I can see myself continuing in the same roles and just trying to improve my work in those roles. I think I'm definitely not tired of it yet.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to go into more administrative. I don't want to be a dean.
Yeah.
I really love the little piece of the dean's job that I get to do. And I'm very grateful that I get to do that. But I don't think that I want to keep teaching. Mm-hmm. So I don't really want to take on roles that would prevent me from doing that would take my attention away, because I think it would be very hard.
Yeah, it's so funny. I share some of, actually, I'm the chair of social sciences right now mm-hmm. at the college, which means that I teach a little less. Mm-hmm. But I'm a better teacher when I'm teaching a little less.
Like
I just feel more energized for it. I like also doing a variety of different things. But more teaching, like adding more and more classes, does not necessarily make you better at it, right?
True.
There comes a tipping point, and I just feel like with the students that I have I don't know if you feel like this at all, but when my teaching load went down, it made my love for teaching increase even more.
Yeah, I really do feel like I can focus more on. I'm always changing something, right, in my classes.
Yeah.
So now that I only have 2 preps, so I can really focus on stats and social psych.
And social psych.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so I can really focus on these 2. Someday I would love to go back to teach intro again. I miss that. I used to teach intro, but I can't have it on my load right now.
So much.
But I still think about it.
Yeah.
Every time I see something that I think, oh, this would be great for an intro class, I keep notes on it in case I ever teach intro again.
Of course you do. Well, your students would be lucky to have you teach them intro. Clara, we have exhausted our time, but it has been such a pleasure to sit down with you. Thanks for sharing about your role at STP, and your story is just so great. And I think, Yeah, for anybody who came from sort of a non-traditional background into higher education, I think these are important stories to tell so that, we mentor our students well in these positions. But I really just want to thank you for sitting down with me.
Oh, thank you. This has been so much fun.
It has been.